Hello guys, my name is NaToSaphiX, and today we have another video, and if you don't know who I am, I'm a recently retired ex-pro. I've been playing for teams like Heroic, Sprout, Complexity, Mouse, and today I will be giving you my top tips on Mirage. Now, what is exactly the FACEIT cheat code? It is talking about what is the most likely thing for your opponents to do on any given map and giving you the counter on both sides. I'll be going through some different things. I'll give you the overall picture of the map. Then we're going to be talking about how to win mid-control CT. We're going to be talking about what we do if the T's force mid-control. On T side, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be understanding the default CT setup, understand the relationship between mid and A, and then we're going to take a look at something which is a theory I've kind of invented in Counter-Strike called pressure lines. Now, I'm recovering from a lung infection, and if you hear any weird breathing from my nose or any coughing, then I hope you can bear with me. I promise you this video will be good and that you will be probably understanding the map twice as good after just having watched this 20 to 30 minute video as I'm expecting it to be. So, let's get right into it. What is FACEIT cheat code exactly? Well, basically, what we do is we identify, we analyze, we can just stick with that, we analyze what is the most likely thing for any given team to do in FACEIT, and then I will teach you guys the counter. So, for example, on the T side of Mirage, for the most part, what people do at high elo, even probably at just low elo around level 10, well, they will do either instant window smoke, or they will be doing window smoke from spawn. Then they will be running something like 3 to 4 guys out in mid, and these guys will just take fights and try to win the round in mid. Now, why is this so effective, and why is it so likely to happen? Well, typically, players tend to do what feels the easiest for them, and going mid with just one smoke is one of the easiest things, as you basically don't need any coordination. Wait for the smoke to bloom, and then run out. And as the CTs come out and fight you, you're just taking straight up aim fights. That's why Mirage is sort of the FACEIT poker's paradise. There's not too much going on in your head. All you need to do is just shoot and kill. The reason why this is so much easier as well is because there's very few decisions that have to be made. Most of it is more reactionary, and there's also very little coordination needed in mid. Whereas on a Mirage, if you want to do just something as simple as an A execute, you have to make sure to say to your teammates, do you know this smoke? Okay, I'll do this smoke. Okay, let's throw them now. Okay, get ready to push. Okay, we're going to do flashes. Let's take CT, blah, blah, blah. There's so much more coordination and so many more decisions that need to be made. Bad players especially, but also FACEIT pokers in general, will gravitate to what is easier and where they probably need to speak the least. That's why typically teams will go either 4 mid and 1 A, or in some crazy cases, they will even just go 5 mid. Now, you might be asking, why don't teams have anyone over towards the B side? It's because it's very rare that CTs push B early. It obviously can happen that teams in FACEIT split out on a very common default, which is like a 1-3-1, 1A, 3 mid, and 1 B. But I do think that this is something that is sort of more rare, and even still has a sort of counter that I will be showing you later. So now that we've gone through what is the easiest thing for the T sides to do, we'll start with sort of the things we need to learn as CT. We'll talk about how to win mid-control. Big thank you to CSGOEmpire for sponsoring this video. CSGOEmpire has recently added cases to their long list of things to do on their site, which means you can now open cases with far greater odds than the ones in CS2 itself. On top of this, they have 0% fees on their marketplace, meaning good deals for both buyers and sellers. Withdrawing your money is fast and convenient, plus their 24/7 customer support is ready to help with any issues you may run into. Use the link below or use code NA2 for a free case with up to $1,500 in prizes when you sign up. Now, I will do it pretty brief, but I'm sure this will still teach you a lot. The way the T's attack mid is they will either do a top mid smoke or a window smoke. Now, no matter what smoke they do, I will recommend you to Molotov if you are the AWP behind the boxes at the start of the round. You can imagine if the T's smoke top mid and you're here doing this Molotov. Well, the thing is, the T's can't gain any space. They can't be chilling behind the boxes, and they're likely not going to stand here and hold connector, so they're probably waiting behind the smoke until the Molotov fades. This gives you time for your connector player to come and take this angle and have a chance to guard this area before the T's are crossing. That's why, to counter the top mid smoke, a really good way to win mid control is just by Molotoving behind the boxes. In case the T's do a window smoke on you, what you can do is just jump up on this, put your crosshair along this line, I put it like this, Then even if you're smoked, you can hit the back wall and start taking steps forward. This one lands behind the boxes and burns the exact same area. And you can pair this up in case there is a window smoke with the window nade, where you get stuck in this corner, you aim here, and you you underhand jump throw. This nade clears the window smoke and you can check with it. So a really great combo you can do is Molo behind boxes, ask your teammate for a flash. When he flashes, you do the nade, and now boom, flash pops and you peek and you just destroy anyone who is running in the middle of mid. This is a good way of winning mid control if you are the AWP player. Obviously, if you are a connector player, your job would then be to come and fight this area. You can do nades top mid, you can do whatever you want. Sometimes for the short player as well, he has a role in mid control as well. I'll show you this smoke, get stuck in here. Smoke here, you can do Molotov underground. You can also come here, and as soon as you can see the white, as long as you hit it pretty hard, you can Molotov behind boxes by bouncing it off like so. And this is another way to win mid control in case your AWP player doesn't have a Molotov. This is obviously all well and good if you're playing with teammates who understand the importance of mid control and understand the taking of mid control. But there will be times where the T's will be 4 mid or 5 mid, where they will be forcing mid to the point of you not being able to basically do anything against this. Especially since you've got a pretty unorganized team. There is one rule that my good friend Cyclone, the coach of Mouse, always had when I was playing with him back in the day, and that was the T's cannot plant the bomb in mid. And excuse me for the bad typing. This is a really good rule to have in mind, especially when you play against Eco, but can honestly also be used when you play a FACEIT pug, even if the T's force mid control fully, and you as CT have to give it up. Well, it is very possible to be CT and give up mid control and still win a round. But in the game of Counter-Strike, typically if you lose map control, you're gonna have to gain it elsewhere. And that's why if you as a CT recognize that the T's are running 4 or 5 mid, this means that there will be a gap on either of the sides. If we go with the idea that they go 4 mid, 1A, well, this means your B player will be able to push B at the start of every round until they stop playing this exact style. And if you are able to do this, well, you're gaining so much map control back, it's possible for you to go on a big flank or to go underground and kill some of the mid players from here. And it just frees you up to do so much more. In fact, the same is true on A, where if there are only 1A, since there are 2 entrances of attack for the A bomb site, it's a 50-50 for the CT if you're gonna run into the T or not when pushing. So if you know they're playing at least 4 mid, you know that there is a 50-50% chance you can go in and get free map control very deep on the A side. If you know that the T has been mostly playing towards the A house, probably an idea would be to push slope and hope that the T is nowhere to be found. And vice versa. If you go slope a lot, you can go push palace. Now let's say you do push on the sides. What does this give you? Well, now, if the T's are splitting up through connector, having this forward position makes it extremely difficult for the T side to plant the bomb anywhere on A. And that is really what is the main thing you want to be doing. On top of that, pushing on the sides will allow you to overstack the other bomb site. As you can imagine, having someone pushed into A house will allow us to stack more efficiently towards the B side, since the A side is guarded from multiple angles, and it's something that will help massively if the T's do try to get the bomb planted. This seems to be something that only rifle players can do, but I will just show you some examples of a way where an AWP player can actually help with pushing on the sides. One of the things that I really like to do as AWP is come back to B. And as I'm coming back to B, I will tell my B player, let's push B together. I will come up, I will take this angle, I will jump to balcony, and then I will peek deep. And I will keep searching. And if I don't see anyone here, I will let my rifle player walk up here. As he's getting close, he can swing on these angles on kitchen. There's more kitchen. And if there's no one to be found, he can just instantly keep pushing forward. This is an example of helping your team push B in a safe manner in the middle of the round when you have the information that they are many mid, but also where if the Ts would have just one lurk towards B, you have a good chance at winning this duel and gaining the area. The same on A, if you choose to leave mid at the start of the round. This is pretty strong to do with AWP, coming close here behind the Molotov and holding this angle. You can check right side, and if he's not here, your rifle player can just walk down, and it's very unlikely the T is set up on this sort of, what do you even call this? Ledge. And so you will probably be likely to get a chance to push through. Now that basically covers all the things we need to know about how to counter the most common thing that Ts do, which is just kind of never-ending mid control. For us to understand how to play T efficiently, and this is both from like a macro perspective where we're talking about you and your whole team, but also in terms of on a micro level where we're talking about your individual decision making, I've written 3 things down. One of them is understanding the default CT setup. This is honestly pretty important on every map, but especially Mirage, because without understanding the default CT setup and the default rotations, we will not be able to understand the next things that I'm saying. That's why I'm going to be teaching it. So, most rounds, if the CTs do not win mid control, or even if they do win mid control, like say I as AWP come here and I peek mid and I see no one is out. It's very rare in pugs especially that Ts are going to be playing delayed mid. Now, why is that much more unlikely? It's because it requires more coordination and it requires more decisions made. It needs people to be all on the same plan. I think we've all tried seeing if we could play a slow round on FACEIT, and it's basically impossible. So late mid is almost not an option in a FACEIT match. That's why if I as AWP get this area and no one has come out and there are no smokes, my common reaction will be to move towards the bomb sites, as these are likely to be hit next. Now, the same thing goes if they do just a top mid smoke. I do molo boxes, and now no one turns it off, nothing's really happening. Maybe I use my HE on the top mid smoke, I check it, okay, no one's in this area, and now I'm thinking they faked a bit of mid pressure, I'm gonna wanna go to the sides. So let's talk about how the AWP is likely to rotate. Well, the first rotation is likely to be jungle holding palace. Another rotation could be to go B and hold B house. The third rotation, which is quite normal, is coming ticket and holding slope. And this is basically what you gotta know about the AWP. For this puzzle to make sense, the AWP player is almost the most important. Because the way most teams set up is that they will start the round by being in a sort of 1-3-1. We will have one B player, one short player, one window player, one con player, and one A player. Now, as soon as the CTs win mid control, what they will typically do is they will leave someone around mid who is able to have a lot of mid information, and then they will stack heavy on the sides. This could be, for example, by having a bottom con smoke, having your AWPer play like this, or play behind a wooden box. This allows you to block connector and block short at the same time. Another example could be having your rifle player playing around jungle, so that you can block if they come up top con, and you can also block if they do the window boost. Playing in this area is really strong, and it allows you to play on CT in a way where you give the Ts mid control, but you still can defend your area. The big thing about winning mid control at the start for CTs and stacking sides is that as a T, if you are trying to make a play right after the CTs have one mid control, you will always be playing against at least 2. Because if the AWP rotates if he rotates jungle, he will lock down your position on A house. At the same time, his teammate is holding slope. And if the AWP rotates ticket, well, now he's holding slope full, and the rifle will be playing top or balk or somewhere where he can hold palace in a good way. This means that there is absolutely no gap to be had for you as a T right after the CTs basically win or lose mid control, because this is the moment where they will be stacking bomb sites. Understanding this relationship between mid and A is what's going to be able to facilitate your taking of timings, both as a team but also as an individual. I see so many people, even in higher level FACEIT, make the mistake of my team has just one mid control, now the CTs are pushed back towards the bomb sites, and now I'm taking my timing out palace and I die to an AWP. This is exactly the opposite of what you want to be doing on Mirage, and understanding this basically piece of string between mid and A that gets pulled back and forth is how you're going to be able to understand attacking the bomb sites. So taking that one step deeper and understanding how we need to do this efficiently is this concept that I call pressure lines. Now, pressure lines is basically a concept where if you draw an imaginary line here, I am not creating any pressure on A until I have crossed this imaginary line. If I'm just peeking here and no CT is peeking me, well, I am unlikely to have created any pressure. But as soon as I cross this line, I will almost undoubtedly have some kind of a contact on a CT, either jumping ticket, playing firebox, playing this off angle on default, playing default, what it may be, even some people play this off angle. And that means when I cross this imaginary pressure line is when I actually generate pressure. If I do this and I take the fight to the A guy, well, this is going to force a rotation from his teammates to come and help him, which in turn will give me more space to work in mid, or like my team, more space to work in mid. This same concept can be applied in the other way where, and this is basically the most important part of this entire video, if I as a T come out mid and I just smoke window, what this basically does is it forces the AWP to play a bomb site instead of playing mid, which makes taking space on A and B more difficult than it was already. But on top of this, I have not gained anything by doing this smoke. As I mentioned, as a CT, if you do a bottom con smoke and you just hold short, there's very little that the Ts have gained by doing this one smoke in window. The only thing the window smoke does is it removes vision, but it doesn't facilitate an aggressive split. That is why I always try to teach that on Mirage, for you to effectively put pressure on mid, you will have to either do top con smoke or do a B split smoke. Like you can also do this bottom con smoke now in CS2. The reason why this is important to do is because while this removes vision from the start of mid and it allows you to get closer, doing this smoke or this smoke or this smoke is what allows you to split either of the bomb sites. And it allows you to do what is what I call going into phase 2. So for a T-side team, phase 1 means taking mid control. Phase 2 means taking advanced positions. Advanced positions in mid on Mirage are things like ladder room or connector. The way that Mirage is designed is that if I am lurking into con and my team is hitting the A bomb site, well now I have a good lurk timing where I can kill either someone here or potentially someone jungle. But it works double, because if my team is putting pressure on B and the A players are rotating, this is a position where I can let the A players over-rotate, I can go out, I can maybe kill them, and I can start taking space and winning the bomb site. This same exact thing can be done with ladder room, where if you are inside ladder room and your team is splitting A, you are able to hold jungle for them, sorry, and also able to hold the guy pushing out short. This allows you to actually have a very vital role, even if your team is splitting A or just hitting A, but also this is a great position to be in if your team is hitting or splitting B, as it allows you to come over short and help out your team. This is why smoking either top con, like middle con, or B split is what's going to allow you to go into phase 2 and these advanced positions. This is what's going to allow you to generate pressure, because you are crossing these pressure lines. This pressure line towards short. If you are free to cross this line without the CTs either being able to see you or being able to block you, this is going to create a lot of pressure towards the B side. The same can be said if the CTs know that you are inside connector. Well, it makes it so the AWP can no longer just sit jungle and hold this with no worries, because he could potentially on timing be pushed like this. It also makes like something like a top con smoke makes the life of a CT very hard, because the connector player will have to either focus on holding left side of the smoke or right side of the smoke. And it will always sort of give you space to have a timing, as the CT can't be anywhere where he can see both sides at the same time. Understanding that getting into con and getting past this is a pressure line is very, very important. Just like this is a pressure line that generates even more pressure. And if you don't manage to do this in mid, if you don't do anything more than a window smoke and you never try to split, you never do a top con smoke or B split smoke, well, then you are effectively useless in mid. You are generating zero pressure, and what's going to happen is that the CTs are going to be forced away from mid to play heavy sides, and there will be no timings to be had. There will be no duels to be had. That's why what I said earlier, for the A player who is in A apps ready to take a timing, what he needs to be doing is waiting for mid control. He needs to be waiting for the window smoke. He needs to be waiting for the second smoke. And when the second smoke comes, he needs to get into position, get ready for his teammates to be available to make a play together. And when they get contact, since he is alone, now is the time that he takes the timing. He swings out, kills the orb, or he swings out and kills the guy top belt, or he goes down shadow and clears out the guy who is being annoying in this area. Understanding the mid and A relationship on Mirage is what's going to massively increase your individual potential, but also your team's win percentage. Doesn't matter if it's a FACEIT or a league match. And understanding how to generate pressure is also one of the main things on Mirage, since this is a map where the CT rotations are very simple, and if you don't generate pressure on them, they are happy to just sit with two guys holding A and giving you mid, and having two guys on B and giving you short. This has been the FACEIT cheat code. I hope it has helped. I hope it's been sort of easy to follow. I know there's been a lot of information crammed into this one video, and I know some of the concepts are a little bit higher skill level, but still, just to recap, on CT, we need to win mid control. I've given some ideas how to do that. But if we cannot win mid control, it means if the Ts get mid, we need to push the sides. We need to understand the default CT setup, and that if you go and just take mid control, so basically the phase 1, you are not doing anything other than sort of collapsing the CTs on the bomb sites, making it much more difficult for you to take space elsewhere than mid. And understanding this will allow you to more effectively pressure, but also know when to take timings and when not to take time. And part of that is understanding the relationship between mid and A. You should see a sort of invisible rope or an invisible piece of string. If I'm generating a lot of pressure in mid, well, that means the CTs are likely to be focused very heavily on mid at the beginning of the rounds. They will be doing bottom corner smokes, they will be doing nades behind the boxes, the orb will be doing this, and there will be space to be had on the sides. Understand that if we do an A execute as T on A, well now, if we have a mid lurk, this guy will have a lot of space because the relationship between mid and A on Mirage works so that where there is pressure, there is rarely CTs. Unless what you do is just doing a window smoke where the CTs are forced back from mid to the point of playing heavy on the sides. This is the moment now where you need to go to phase 2 like we talked about. You need to do something like a top con smoke. You need to either go in and take advanced position or at least make the CT think that this is a possibility. This will allow you to go into phase 3, which I didn't really cover. Phase 3 is the actual split that we will be doing, where we're using the advanced positions to split, or we use the faking of advanced positions to make the CTs think we have someone coming from another side. And the last thing that I want you guys to take away from this is the concept of pressure lines. On my second channel, I have a video that explains it much more in depth, and I'll probably make a specific video about it on my main channel as well. But understanding that before you cross this line, you can never put pressure on B in a split manner. And understand, if the CTs have bottom con smoke and you never do a top con smoke and you never take con from them, well, you will never be putting pressure on an A split. If you manage to understand all these 6 things, you will have understood how to play CT and T at a much higher level, understanding just how to block the easiest things and understanding what people are normally doing. This is what is going to win you a lot more matches, and that is exactly the whole point of the FACEIT cheat code. This was the first episode in CS2 on Mirage. I hope you have enjoyed it. And if you wouldn't mind, I'd love for you to leave a like on the video. It really does help me out a lot. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next video.